Chances are you've seen the headlines. San Diego rents are dropping and we finally fell off the list of the most expensive rental markets in the country. Sounds like a win for renters, right? But that story is mostly wrong. And once you see where rents are softening and where they're holding firm, it tells you something the headlines miss about whether you should rent or buy a home right here in San Diego. This and more covered in this week's San Diego Market Matters, and I'm Karl Kyler, your San Diego realtor. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so now to stay up to date on the grounded read of the San Diego housing market. Now, let's dig into this. Kicking things off with the market update first, because the economic picture sets everything we're going to talk about today. Starting with inflation, the Feds watched the measure PCE, and the latest read came in at 3.8%. The target is 2%. We're not moving towards the target, we're actually moving away from it. Inflation has been climbing, and that one fact shapes what the Fed is going to do next. Unemployment is sitting at 4.3%. That's a healthy number. Good news for workers. But here's the catch for anyone hoping for lower rates. When people have jobs and keep spending money, the Fed has no pressure to cut. And GDP came in at a positive 1.6% for the first quarter. Slow growth, but growth nevertheless. Nothing in that number forces the Fed to step in and rescue your payments. Now for the Fed, the market places its own bet on what the Fed does next through something called the CME FedWatch tool. It reads futures contracts and turns them into the odds of a hike, a hold, or a cut in each of the upcoming meetings. Think of it as the smart money's best guess. And right now that guess points somewhere most people aren't ready for. Look out to the last meeting of the year, December 9th. The odds of rates staying where they are today sits only at 10%. The market is priced in nearly a 90% chance rates are higher by the end of the year, not lower. The bet isn't on a cut, it's actually on a hike. That ties straight back to inflation. Kevin Warsh held rates steady at his first meeting at the helm, and the message was simple. Study the data first, make sure we're measuring inflation and jobs accurately before moving forward. Translation for you, nobody's coming to lower your mortgage payment anytime soon, much less any rates. And mortgage rates back that up. The 30-year fix closed last Friday at 6.58%, down a hair on the week, with FHA and VA both around 6.15. A year ago, they were sitting in the high sixes and low sevens, so the year-over-year trend has been a positive for buyers, but the path from here points sideways to upwards, not downwards. Now hold that thought. Buying a home isn't getting easier, it's getting harder. Now let's talk about one part of that market where everyone says relief has finally arrived and separate what's true from what's noise. Now here's the story that you were being fed. Zumper, a national rental platform, reported San Diego rents are falling. 1 bedrooms are down 5.6% year over year. 2 bedrooms down 7.5%. We dropped to number 12 on the list of priciest rental markets. Back in 2022, we were number 5. So on paper, San Diego got cheaper to rent, and the headlines ran with it. Rare relief, no longer in the top 10. But here's the part nobody's telling you. Step back and look at 2 years, not 2 months, and the real story is stagnation, not collapse. Rents here have been grinding sideways for about 2 years. Every few months, a report shows a dip, and then the next read claws it back. The decline never sustains. Prices in the rental space are mostly flat, holding, not crashing. So why does one report show a real drop? Because of where the softness is concentrated. Now let's look at where the real relief lies, and I'll use relief very loosely. The deals, they're in brand new luxury construction. The newest tower downtown, the Torrey, is offering up to 2 months free and $1,000 look and lease deal. That's not a landlord lowering rent. That's a brand new building with hundreds of empty units fighting to fill them before the next tower opens its doors. Downtown alone had more than 18,000 apartments as of mid-May, one of the most competitive rental submarkets in the region. Flood one neighborhood with that much new high-end rental supply at once, and those buildings had to give something up to get tenants in the door. 1 month free, 2 months free, even 3 months free. That's where your headline rent drop is coming from. Now go look at places like Claremont, Chula Vista, El Cajon. You're not seeing 2 months free, you're seeing the same rent as last year, give or take. The luxury renter gets a deal. The everyday renter is seeing nothing. And here's the contradiction. San Diego is building a lot of apartments, and San Diego is still radically short on housing. The state hands each region a target for new homes, and we are way behind it. Not close. We have a genuine structural shortage years in the making. So how do you have a shortage and a rent slowdown at the same time? It's because of what's getting built. The construction we're delivering on is overwhelmingly apartments, not for-sale homes. San Diego builds more multifamily as a share of total construction than nearly any metro in the entire country, second only to New York, and most per person of any metro in California. We're building up in towers for renters, much of it at the top of the price range. And that's the key right there. The new supply lands in the rental market, mostly the luxury rental market. It does not land in the for sale market, which is exactly why the relief shows up where it does and almost nowhere else. Now let's connect this to the side most of you care about, the homes you buy and sell. On the purchase side, prices are still climbing, modestly but up. My most recent local data preview put the detached median right around 1.1 million, flat to slightly up year over year after 6 straight months of growth. And inventory keeps shrinking. Detached is down almost 25% year over year. Fewer homes, steady demand, prices edging up. 2 markets, 2 different directions, same city. Here's the piece I want you to sit with. When renting stays flat while buying keeps getting harder, fewer renters feel the push to become homeowners. Think about this for yourself. If your rent isn't climbing and a mortgage at 6.5% on $1 million home is outside your reach, you're gonna stay put. You just keep renting because it's so easy. And every renter who makes that choice is one less buyer in the buyer pool that's pushing prices upwards. That thins the buyer pool out at the margins. Normally, fewer buyers would drag prices down, but there's almost nothing for sale because the new supply went into apartments. So even with a thinner pool of buyers, the resale market stays starved for inventory and prices are holding steady instead of falling. The pressure comes off of the boil, but the floor is staying underneath it and it's solid. That's the San Diego paradox. Cheaper rent doesn't crash home prices here because the relief and the shortage live in 2 different markets. If you're renting, stop feeling like you're falling behind and start using your leverage. The deals are real, but they're specific. You want the 2 months free and the look and lease deal? Look at brand new buildings downtown, not the older complexes. Lock in a strong rate, lower your overhead, and use the breathing room to stack cash. Because the for sale market isn't getting cheaper and buyers breaking in right now are disciplined savers. And if you've been waiting to buy until rents crash and prices follow, here's your reality check. They're not moving together. Betting your timeline on one to drag down the other is a plan built on a headline, not on actual data. So let's do a quick recap. Rates aren't your rescue. The rental relief everyone's celebrating is narrower than the headlines, and the for sale shortage has never gone away. So let me hand you the debate. If cheaper rent keeps more people renting and that thins the buyer pool, but prices won't fall because there's nothing for sale, then tell me this in the comments. Does San Diego ever get more affordable to buy in? Or are we stuck in a city where it's just cheap to rent and impossible to own? I want your honest take here because that question is the whole ballgame for the next probably 5 to 10 years, at least. And that's a wrap for this week's San Diego Market Matters. If this video provided value to you, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. And if you're thinking about buying or selling here in San Diego, my contact info is in the description below. Feel free to reach out. I'd love the opportunity to work with you. As always, I'm Karl, your San Diego realtor. I'll see you in the next video. Shh.